Welcome everybody to Dark Passions Live. I am your host, Dark Passions. I am here today with the hot author, Dawn White. She has written 9 novels. I'm glad to have you on the show, Dawn.
Good. Thank you for having me.
We got off to a little rocky start, didn't we?
Yep. Well, we learned.
Yes, we did. A lot. Well, so how is your new project going?
It's going good. Yesterday, I think I got like 7,000 words in. It's coming along. I'm happy with it.
That's good. I'm still psyched, so
I can't wait.
this might be kind of a rush, but what inspired you to become a writer?
When I was younger, I wrote poetry, and I sent them into, well, my teachers ended up sending them into different contests, and I ended up getting them published in Britannicas and stuff all over the country.
Cool. Have you ever written or wanted to write a different genre?
Yes, I started in a dark paranormal romance, not even a paranormal romance. It's pretty dark. But I started in dark paranormal romance and I kind of morphed into a romantic suspense writer, and I'm loving the romantic suspense, but I still love writing my paranormal.
Have you considered crossover books?
Yeah,
Writing from
yeah.
different
I still have
cities?
a secret project we're working on. It's gonna be crossovers. There's gonna be quite a few cool things in there.
Sweet.
But
What drives you to write?
what drives me, I love the written word, and I just love putting my emotions into what I write. It helps me get through basically the day. I'm a very emotional person, and if I can get everything out on the computer or into a Word document, it makes things so much easier.
Did you find it hard to get published?
No, actually, the first people that I sent my book to, well, first thing I did is I sent it to get edited, and then I sent it to them to see if I could get an approval. And like 2 weeks later, I got a phone call saying you're approved. We'd love to have you. We're gonna publish in October, and it was like 2 months away. So I was like, whoa, okay, let's do this.
Um, did you writing the genres you're writing, did it come easy to you, or did you find it hard to adjust?
The genres I write, romantic suspense and dark paranormal, they're easier for me to write than, say, just a normal romance. I don't do well with just romance. It has to have some kind of edge of your seat thriller. I love that stuff. And horror. I love horror. I wrote Anastasia, which is a horror series for children. She absolutely loves zombies. Well, zombie movies and zombie books out there weren't very good for her, so I wrote that series just for her, and it came out to be one of my favorites.
What is your favorite character you have worked with or
My
worked
favorite
on?
character? I would say Rebecca is my favorite. She's sassy and sarcastic and just great. But as in male characters, my favorite male character is Gavin. He's super yummy.
So, hopefully we'll see Gavin in your new series, huh?
Yes, yes, he's in Deceptive Beauty, which I just sent to you yesterday.
Yes,
Um, he's interesting. He's definitely interesting.
quite yummy, actually.
Yes, yes, quite yummy.
So you've been telling me you've got a charity. You've
Yes, well, I donate to charities. What I do is I usually send a percentage or all of the book profits to the charities. But yes.
would you mind telling um, us a little bit more about what the charity is and what it does, and see if we can get our audience out to see if they can help out?
Well, I was a military wife for 14 years. So one of the big things that I'm into is the Wounded Warrior Project. Well, the book I'm writing about PTSD with the soldier and the wife reconnecting after war, the profits of that book are going to go to the Wounded Warrior Project every month. So I'm excited to send them money, because if we're not going to take care of our heroes, who is? You know, they come home, a lot of them come home wounded, and sometimes the government isn't there to take care of them, so it's up to us to actually take care of them.
Well, that's good that there are people like you out to actually help with our veterans and those who can't do for themselves now after they've fought for this country. The way people view them, it's kind of heartbreaking, because we should show them a lot more respect than, well, our politicians. But
Yes, yes. With politicians, they're just used as a prop when they want to get elected, and that's what's scary about it. But the VA it's taken a few steps back, and it needs to catch up with people like the Wounded Warrior Project that actually want to help. And it's an organization, not an actual government entity, that comes in and foots the bill for the medical stuff, helps them get certain wheelchairs, prosthetics, and just little things, and sometimes just helps the family when they're struggling after war. Sometimes like when we had the tornadoes ravage through half of our country, and some of them were military families that lost their houses, they came in and they helped them pick up the pieces and put it back together for them.
That's good. Sometimes it's the little things that means the most to people than going out doing something dramatic. Speaking of the wars and our soldiers, have you thought of writing a series just dedicated to them?
Yeah, the one that I'm working on, it's coming out in January. It's about the soldier. He goes overseas, he fights for the country, he gets hurt, and he loses. That's going to be a whole series. But every single book is going to be a different couple, and that's the profits from that series are what's going to go to the Wounded Warrior Project. I'm looking for other military projects, charities that I can actually work with other than just them, because I'm wanting to send one to them and then something, else with each book. So I can just basically put my hands in all of the charities.
Have you thought about making it available, your books available to our soldiers while they're overseas?
Yes, actually, I'm already in the process of contacting. I've been in contact with the Navy Exchange, the military, the PX, which is the Army Exchange. It goes all over the world. The libraries on the Marine bases, stuff like that. They're carrying my books out in California at the libraries, and I'm already working on getting them into all the exchanges for them. So it's in the works. I'm hoping to get definitely the PTSD book into them, because it's the disclaimers in it and the acknowledgments in it are just for them. And I just want to bring awareness to the disease, that you don't need to be scared of this disease. It's just learn about it before you judge. And that's the one thing that I was trying to show in this book.
So, do you have any upcoming book signings you want to tell us about?
I will have a book signing in downtown Charleston, I think end of November. We haven't actually locked in a date, but we've already started discussing it.
How's the vibe at your book signings? Is it like crazy? Is it calm? Is it just out there?
It's fun, and it's silly, because I don't take it so serious. I'm not like sitting there with a stoic face on. I'm not like, oh my gosh, don't look at me. Not not like that. I will take a selfie with you. You're gonna get probably a lipstick smear on your on your cheek, because I will give you a kiss. But it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. I get a lot of women just come out and they just want to have fun. They give me a big hug, and I sign either a postcard for them or a book, because if they don't have a book, I'll just give them a free postcard before they leave.
What is the strangest thing have you encountered with your readers?
With my readers? Oh. So in Deceptive Beauty, you will see, if you haven't finished it yet, at the end of it, there is a huge cliffhanger. I mean, it's like massive, jump off the edge cliffhanger. And everybody's yelled at me. I've had probably 30 messages, like within like the first week it was released, of people screaming into my IMs, like all you saw was ah. I was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, what WTF? What's going on? And then they went into, griping at me about why they were yelling at me.
Has your editor come up to you and asked you, well, why did you stop it right in the middle?
No, she knows. She knows what happens next, so she knows if we didn't stop it right there, it would have ticked people off even more if I had ended it where I was planning on ending it. So it was, it's like a slap in the face where I ended it, but when it picks up, you'll see why I did. Because the next book literally picks up like, that same day that all of that happened. I'm not telling anybody what happened at the end. You'll see when you read it.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
It's good to have them leave an author on the edge of their seat, because if you don't, it gets kind of boring for writers, not just for the reader.
Yes. I get bored writing just mundane, annoying stuff. I do a lot of web content. Like I'll write web pages and I'll do the stuff for web pages and stuff. And that's so boring. It's so technical, and you're like through the whole thing. You feel like a zombie when you're done, and you don't want to ever do it again. But you have to pay bills, so you're gonna do it again.
What pages are quite different than writing? I feel you there.
Oh yeah.
You are part of a publishing company.
Yes, I'm co-owner of a publishing company.
Wow.
It's Nevermore Press.
To our freshly started graduates and young adults who are just aching to get into this business, tell them a little bit about your company and what y'all expect out of a writer, and what tips they might want to take in joining you.
My first tip is build a routine. Every author needs a routine, whether you're just starting or you've been doing it for years. The ones that have been doing it for years, the reason why is because they have a routine. They sit down maybe at the same time every day, but they sit down for the same time period and they write. Whether they want to or not, they put the words into the Word document. Just write and flesh it out later. And as opposed to my publishing company, we're all in one. We do everything. We do all the editing, all the cover design. We just got a new illustrator who's absolutely amazing. Another side thing that Nevermore Press has is we also own a publicity company that does publicity does blog tours and does everything else for all of our authors. So it's literally an all-in-one. We do everything in-house, and nobody has to go anywhere else for anything else.
If you could pick a book to have a movie out of, which book would that be?
Actually, 2 of my books already have screenplays. Wingless and Damned, that whole book has its screenplay, and Deceptive Beauty is being written into a screenplay right now. Cool. We have a screenplay writer on staff also at our company.
So you're all covered, huh?
Yeah, we are. And now we're just shopping it around.
When are you hoping, or may hope, for them to be out in theaters or in the process of being put in production?
I have this huge fantasy to get Kurt Sutter to actually do Deceptive Beauty, the whole series. I think he has a raw edge to his biker dramas, and I think it would be amazing for him to actually take a romantic series like that and give it the raw edge that's written into it, but in his way. I think it would be absolutely amazing if he could come on and take that over for me. Now with Wingless and Damned, that's my baby. I love that book, but I love it, but I don't love it as much as I love Deceptive Beauty. I don't know if that makes sense. The ending of Wingless and Damned is my all-time favorite. Absolutely love it. Great ending. But Deceptive Beauty, if I know who I want to work on that one, I think possibly Roman Polanski I could actually see doing, Wingless and Damned, but I'm not 100% positive there.
Tell everybody, how exactly did you come up with the whole series for Deceptive Beauty? When I was talking to you earlier, it was quite interesting how that kind of like smacked you in the face to begin with.
Yeah, it smacked me in the face in like the middle of the night. I went to bed watching Sons of Anarchy, and I literally dreamt the entire series basically. Well, at least the first one it gave me. After that, I had to pull it apart and chuck it out a little bit, but it came out and it was all at once, and I was like, oh my gosh. So when I woke up, I was reeling from the awesome dream I just had, and I just wrote it all down, and it came out. And I think like 3 weeks after I had the dream, the book was written and ready to go.
Wow. That leads me to another question. When you're writing, I know most of all of us authors have that problem. Do you find yourself struggling between characters because some of them just won't hush? They just scream at you so much?
My biggest problem is when I'm like you and I write like 10 books at a time. And I have to pick and choose between them of what I want to write. But it also depends on which characters are talking to me the most. I don't force the characters. If I'm not feeling the book that I'm writing, I stop writing that book. And I go to one that I am feeling. Because those are just talking to me so much more. Or I'm just feeling that emotion at that minute. So I go into it and I write it. I can write so much quicker when my characters are on board with me instead of me, poking them with the, prod stick saying, let's go.
You told me when you first started writing you had a wicked organization system that you had to modify.
Don't be a Post-it note author. They go everywhere, you lose them, and then you freak out because you lost one. Don't do it. Now I have notebooks, and they stay organized, or I have just paper sitting next to me. And wherever I go, like in my purse, I have just a little pad of paper. Wherever I am at home, I have just a bunch of notebooks scattered around the house that I write in.
Or Post-its on your desktop.
Yes, and then the Post-its on my desktop. I just got a new computer, so I had to go out and find an actual app for this computer because it's Windows 8. My other one had it on there, so now I had to go find it.
Yeah, I've got a Windows 8 now, and most of the apps on there you have to like actually dig and search and find. They say it's organized, it's not.
Oh yeah, and then you don't know what you actually want to use, if it's any good until you actually download it, and then you're like, you know what, I don't like that, so you have to go in and find something else. That's what I've noticed with Windows 8.
Who's your favorite? If you have any favorite authors?
I have two favorite authors. I have Laurel K. Hamilton, who is like, I don't know, the goddess of dark paranormal romance. Absolutely love her. And then Anne Rice. I love Anne Rice, and she actually talks to her fans basically every day on her author page. I love it. I love seeing the inner workings of her mind, and knowing one of the first vampire books I read was hers.
Hey, mine too. I had the pleasure of talking to Anne Rice through IM. She is an absolutely amazing woman. Her first book, The Interview with the Vampire, she said that she fought tooth and nail to get it to where it's at, and she says, and by the time she just wanted just to give up, it took 30 years for it to get the recognition it wanted. Have you had any troubles with your first book when you first started? How people thought of it, what your expectations you wanted was met or not?
Yeah, and here's the thing with Wingless and Damned, it kind of, the whole being an author thing kind of smacked me in the face quickly. I was literally just coming from being bedridden and wheelchair bound for 6 months at that point, and then I got thrown into the publishing world. And it was quick, and it was fast, and it was dirty, and a lot of it is. And I hate to say that, but the publishing world is, especially indie publishing, because everybody's out there to get their own piece.
It's quite lethal.
Yes. yes, they're out there to get their own piece, but the solidarity is lacking. You have the ones that are, great and they just want to help everybody, which I know quite a few of those, and I love to help people. But then you have the ones over here that think they know it all, and they're like, don't come to me, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to anyone, blah, blah, blah. And those are the ones that, it's like, defriend, don't talk to me, I don't want to talk to somebody like you, I don't like drama. I don't deal with drama, and generally where the publishing world is involved, there's generally drama. And that's the problem with such a small community.
The whole publishing world in general is nothing but drama. It's stressful, and
but
most readers don't understand that it is more stressful on us than it is on them.
Oh, yes. Yes. It's scary. It's a scary world out there. And one thing I want to say to new authors, don't be scared away from it. Find somebody, like me, come to me. And I will be like, hey, it's okay. We'll get through this. Let's do this together. And, I'll walk you through the whole thing of getting you, out there. But be careful with those naysayers. They will scare the hell out of you. And sometimes they will make you regret your passion. And you can't let that happen.
There are groups online that deals with helping authors who are struggling, authors who just really want to put their hand through something, and more or less. I tell you and everybody else on Facebook, I'm like, well, I'm about ready to beat my head up against this wall if this just doesn't slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever experienced where writing in general just got really, really fast and you wish you could just pull the brakes on it for just 5 seconds just to slow down?
Yeah, I have problems with wanting too much. I want to write quicker than I should. And sometimes I do, and it's not a big deal. It's just sometimes I'll tear through writing a novel, and sometimes it's like this novel is dragging out and I can't get the ending out. Stuff like that drives me nuts. Is when I'm like, just give me the ending. Just give me the ending. Because I don't write it all down to know what I'm going to do. I just leave it open-ended so it ends the way it has to end. And that's the way I do it. But sometimes the book will finish before, I'm like, oh my God, it's already done. And I want to go back to write it again. So I actually have to throw more books into the series because I want to continue writing it. Like the Sinister Sun Syndicate series is going to be like 7 books because I love writing that series.
I've noticed some authors, they say they get to a certain point and they've got their settings and stuff all perfect, but what they thought their characters would be in their head just never fitted. Did you ever experience anything like that?
I had a character start one way, and then halfway through the book, when I didn't like the attitude, I changed them. I've had that happen, but I've never had a character come into my head and just not translate to paper. Never had that issue. I have a tendency to go with the grittier characters, though. They curse, they're sassy, they're sarcastic. Most of them are, well, basically all of them are tattooed. There's definitely a grittiness to my characters when I write them.
Reflecting back on your characters of all the books and works you've done, works you might be working on, what book and character did you see yourself reflecting on?
That's the problem. I reflect on basically all of them. Like, I've had a friend pick up one of my books, like one of my best friends from 20-something years has picked up a book, and she's like, that is totally you. And then she'll pick up the next book, and she'll be like, that is you too. And I'm like, I write myself. As a female, I write myself into the story unintentionally, because even when we write, the only way I can explain it is we bleed all over it. It's our story. These characters are ours, and of course, we're basically taking a piece of ourselves and putting it into a story. It's gonna be us.
I've noticed most of all authors do that.
Yes.
Even the men, they might not admit, like we do, that we pour our heart and soul, but when they say that the writing business will make you actually believe that is exactly what they're talking about. We strive for perfection, and I guess that's our downfall when it comes to writing.
We hemorrhage part of ourselves into every story we write. That's why we get emotional when our characters get emotional, when we kill off a character. Some of us get all blubbery. And like when my characters are emotional, I'm emotional. When there's a loss, I feel a loss because I feel that I lost a piece of, myself that I wrote into this story. Because we literally hemorrhage and bleed all over it, and we don't even intentionally do it. But it's like pieces of ourselves are just going out there for the entire world to read.
What would you tell other authors about their relationships with critics and how critics think or view their writing?
Okay, critics are like reviewers. I don't generally read reviews anymore. I noticed when I started reading the reviews, I started inputting the stuff into my writing, and it did not help whatsoever. So what I ended up realizing is that reviewers review strictly for other readers, not for us authors. They are just out there to take a finished product and give it a star or 5 stars, whatever they believe it deserves. And that's rightly so. That's their opinion. They can do whatever they want with it. If it's a 5-star book, then they'll give it the 5-star book. If it's a 1-star, ignore them. Those are the ones you want to stay away from as far as possible. Put your arm out and don't come any closer than that. Don't read them because they get into your soul and they seep in, and you can't let that happen. It will change you.
What struggles have you had as a writer?
Trying to stay away from drama. Other than that, I stay away from drama as far as possible. Like, you'll see eventually, you'll notice when drama I see everywhere on Facebook, I just immediately sign off, and then I'm just gone until like the next day when the drama is usually at a low point in the morning. So other than that, I don't really stay away from much except for mean people. I don't like mean people. Just mean people and drama. I stay away from them.
Well, that's pretty good to just chill for a bit and relax and just remove yourself from everything.
Just go back to writing.
Have you found yourself just running into your books just to have something to do in order to deal with actual life, or just for fun or whatever?
Yes, I'll be, bored out my mind, or sometimes I have problems sleeping a lot. So because I have so many problems sleeping, I'm one of those people that I will put the time in, and I will write for at least a couple hours a day. But the thing is when I can't sleep, I'm in front of the computer, and then I do like these random 24-hour things where I'll just randomly write for 24 hours for no reason. It works for me. Generally, that's when I'm like frustrated with something, or I have something emotional going on, or I'm just being a girl and have emotions, stuff like that.
Does that drive your husband mad when you do that? Just lose yourself for 24 hours in a book?
I think my husband, he understands it, and I'll take breaks just to feed him, feed the kids, do a quick, dish wash, brush my hair, put some lotion on my hands, and then go back to writing and stuff like, just little things. But it's, God bless him, he's a saint for dealing with me, because I am not an easy character. I don't know how he deals with it, because I'm a blubbering mess 1 minute from a book, or I'm a raging lunatic from a book from another story. So it's like, I'm so sorry you got yourself into this 15 years ago.
He's probably glad afterwards, especially when one's finished. He's probably going, yes, it's done, she's back. And then he's like, oh man, she's there again. What the?
Gone again. Yeah, there's a lot of, you need to slow down. Maybe you're doing too much. Maybe you're pushing yourself too much, because I don't only write, books. I do, like I said, I do the web content. I do articles for companies, which is really drab. And I do blog tours and, basically everything in between. And then I help run our publishing company, which is a lot of contacting, headquarters of different businesses. So I'm constantly working, and it's generally 18-hour days every day. So because of that, my husband's like, slow down, take the day off. So I've come to the realization that on the weekends, I don't touch the computer. I need husband time, and I need children time, and I can't not be mommy or be wife. So I have to, work in between both of the schedules just to be me and, work the way I do.
I think most authors have that problem. Once they hit the writing switch on, it is so hard to turn it off.
Yes. Sometimes we need to make ourselves, though. I've seen a lot of writers out there that have put so much into writing and only writing that they've basically left their entire family behind. And that it's sad to me because I'm like, I love my family more than anything in this world. I feel bad for them because mommy's a lunatic sometimes, but but anyways, I have to spend the weekends with them. We go hiking or we just sit down and watch movies and whatnots like that. But I'm unplugged. That's the biggest thing. I'm unplugged on the weekends when I'm with them.
Most people think unplugged is more like computers. No, it's not for us writers anyway. We do everything: computers, keyboards, typewriters,
notebooks,
iPods, cell phones, pen, pencil, everything.
Yes. Yep. You just have to get out of that work frame of mind on weekends. I can't do it anymore.
The biggest, I think that's where they invented the word a workaholic, was practically for us writers, because that's technically what we normally are, workaholics.
Oh yes, my partner, we co-own the businesses that we do together. She works a normal 9 to 5, and then we do everything in between, but I work this. This is all I do. And she does a 9 to 5 and works everything that I do. So for her, it's the biggest thing. It's like on a weekend, I'm like, you need to unplug. I was like, you need to get off, stop doing what you're doing, and go back to doing, go watch TV with your family, go play a game with your family, go do something fun with your family, because stress will eat you up if you let it. And if you do 18 to 20-hour days like we've done many, many times, it can hurt you, and it hurts in the long run. So definitely slow it down and try to put the time in to write, but definitely try to unplug on weekends for your family's sake, because you go nuts if you don't.
Literally.
Yeah. You go nuts.
I think Stephen King wrote something about that Secret Window, where his writer goes absolutely not really suicidal. He was more like a homicidal maniac.
Yes.
For just to get the right pitch for his story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do that.
No. Well, I guess he went a little too far in his research project for writing.
Yeah, a little over
there.
The one that my husband always tells me, he'll stick his arm around me and he'll go, "I'm your biggest fan." And as soon as he says that, my mind switches back on to Misery. And I'm like, I hope not.
I really hope you're not. Like she hobbled his legs.
Yeah, tied him to the bed, broke his ankles.
Oh my gosh.
Changes, man. My husband has ripped my stories apart, and I was like, only if I could actually do that to you. I told him, do not mess with my stories. I've written several of them several times because he'd forget that they're actual books, and he'll mistake them for something else, and then he'll just rip them up to pieces, and I'd be sitting there going, yeah, thanks for 3 days of hard work. Now I gotta do that again.
He's like, you did not just do that. Or, honey, do you know where the notebook was that was sitting over there on the table? Yeah, I gave it to Krista yesterday to draw in. And then you get your notebook back and you have, Sharpie marker written all over it. And I was like, I didn't even know we owned a pink Sharpie marker, much less have it all over my book. Come on now. It's, oh my gosh. Sometimes we need to go back to the old days and just write it out. Sometimes it works best for us.
I
But
do that.
I'm
I've done that so much. I've got totes, really big totes of nothing but writing. And I'd write in one notebook and copy it to another just in case I want to change something, and I'd mark them out, and I'd keep that. My husband says, you've marked it out. You do not need it anymore. And I'd be going, I might need that later. And they go, but you just copied it over. You don't need that. And I tell him, well, I might want to keep that. And he'll hold it up and he'll go, how can you tell what's still on it?
Yeah, but we might want to reword things, and we might have reworded it better the first time, and that's the stuff that drives us nuts because we know we've written it once another way. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Or you'll get index cards. I've got like index cards that I keep, and my mom will go. She'll say, "Well, you're at a deadline. You're like 2 days before your deadline. Hurry up." So I'll be sitting there writing really, really small on these note cards, and I'd give them to her because she's my typist, and she'll be sitting there going, I can't read this.
Getting the magnifying glass out.
No, she needs a magnifying glass badly. And she goes, well, how many more? So I have got little pages and note cards that I've got her now for my third book. Hopefully I'll be getting that out pretty soon if she types fast enough. Of Eternal Burning that are on note cards because I went from the big pieces of paper that she can actually see down to the little itty bitty. And I'm sitting there going, Mom, I haven't actually copied it down yet. And she's like, it's fine. And she'll like snatch it from me, put it up, and she goes, I'm typing it. End of story. You're done. So it gets quite hectic.
Oh yeah. I think I need to get my husband involved in it. I'm wondering what would happen if I did.
Oh,
But
I'm already rubbed off on my husband. He's got 2 books he's done. One isn't titled yet. One he was working on is Dragon's Eye. He's into fantasy. Right now, the one that he started is about vampires and stuff, and he's like way out of his element because he's like traveling into mine. So I'll be sitting there going, when are you gonna get this done? And he says, I don't know. I says, you've got by the end of the year to get it done. And he goes, oh, well, come on. He says, be my friend. And I says, I'm your publisher. I don't have to be your friend. So I'm like his publisher, his editor, his publicist. I've got 1 page for him on Facebook done. I'm getting ready to work on an actual page for him. And he's like, can we slow down? Can I finish the book first? I says, yeah. I says, you better be done before I'm done with my other one.
yeah. I want to do, my husband's he's working on his history major right now, and he gets straight A's in history, and he tells like the most amazing stories about history and war, and they're awesome. Well, I want to do a story with him of, about an ancient battle and, a soldier and, maiden fall in love. I would love to do that with him so he could just bring in his, his military history knowledge, and I could do the romance part. I think him and I could actually do an awesome book together. But he's a perfectionist, and I don't know if him and I'm like psychotic when I'm writing, so when I'm writing, I don't know if it's going to work well together. We'll see, though. We work together as a couple, but I don't know if we'd work together writing together.
Well, what you do is you get him to where he would write for himself, and then as he's writing it, then you can get an insight on, well, maybe he would be able to handle this. Oh, well, trust me, once he starts writing, he'll realize how hectic it really is.
He knows he's amazing at writing to begin with. It's getting him to take it from a nonfiction standpoint to a fiction standpoint. That's the thing. If I could actually get him to just put his knowledge into it, it would be amazing. Because we could put his knowledge and then I could just bring a romance random romance story into it, and it could be a good historical romance. But the time period is way different than what I'm used to writing, and I guess we're just gonna have to see if it works. Maybe next summer we were talking about.
Hopefully
Hopefully.
you won't get nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little anxious. I'm excited but anxious because like I said, he's almost a historian. He's working on his degree for it. So it's knowing that I have to actually do that much research to actually get this written. I have to do, her clothing has to be accurate. Her language has to be accurate. Everything she says, the way she dresses, the makeup she uses, the food she uses, everything. I mean, everything has to be spot on in order to get him to write with me. So that's going to be interesting.
Most of my characters in my Exotic Life series is research based. I think the first 2 books I've done, I know the first book I did, I drilled myself for like 3 years of nothing but research and background, and then I was trying to see, okay, now how can I tweak this to where it'd be in a fictional sense, and it's exhausting.
Yes, I've learned a lot of weird things over the years doing my research. Definitely when I was researching for Deceptive Beauty for the whole series, it was interesting learning about the cultures of bikers, and then the culture of biker gangs, and then the culture of biker gangs and their families and their old ladies, and their cuties, which are generally like girls that just hang around and want to hook up with them. And then you have the girls like house mouses that actually want to, they want to help keep things clean, and they just want the protection of the club. That's basically all they want. But it's a whole new world. And then you have weird things in that world, like things are spelled differently, like cut, like their leather jacket isn't spelled C-U-T like you would expect. I actually had a good friend of mine whose family is part of, a motorcycle gang. They brought me this brochure, and they were like, "This is how you spell it, honey." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "Now I know." So, but it's not just C-U-T, and you'll read it when you're in the book and you're seeing that for the word cut. It's weird, and you're gonna be like, "Huh," but it's accurately that's the way it's accurately spelled, and I'm like, this is gonna take some time getting used to it. But it's accurate, and I was pretty shocked that I didn't get that the first time around, but when we went in for edits, we got it and made sure it was changed.
I know when I was writing, I've done a couple others that I've started on, and I've got friends that says, well, you change the way your language is, change the way you normally speak, and I'm sitting there going, why? And they go, because it'll connect with your readers better, and I'm sitting there going, first you got to connect with me of what are you talking about first? Because when I write, I grew up proper English, and my godfather even gave me this book where when publisher says that editors want you to say things, write things the way it actually is and how you spoke. An author, I don't remember her name, but an author actually did the complete opposite. She wrote down how everybody speaks. And when you're reading it, you're finding yourself correcting her as you're reading it. Trust me, you cannot read this book accurately.
No, I know how that stuff is. I've read quite a few things like that. But I think with the right team behind you, you're going to succeed. As if you have the work ethic and you're willing to put the time and the money and yourself into it, then there's no reason you can't succeed. None.
I've heard young authors say that they're in it for the acknowledgement, the money, and I'm sitting there going, you're not gonna get in this business too far. Says a lot of authors, I call them ancient authors because they're a lot more wiser than I am. they tell you you have to have drive and passion and desire, because if you don't, you will fail at this business. And that is in all aspects in what we do. If it's publishing, writing, anything that deals with entertaining everybody else and anything that goes around it, if you can't put the effort in actually doing it, even though you will get kicked in the teeth a lot,
You
you
times in the head.
have to have some sort of backbone to get through this business.
Yes, we do. People try to stomp on you especially if you're happy and you're excited to be doing what you're doing. Now, if you're coming into being an author and you're like, I'm going to make it huge, I'm going to be on the New York Times bestseller list, it's the coveted list. Every author in this world covets the New York Times bestsellers. I know, we all do it. But chances of her or him or that person reaching to that point is very low, especially if you come into it and you think, oh my God, this is what I'm going to do. I mean, push for it, reach for it, never stop giving up, and keep the dream alive. Just keep writing. The more you put out, the better chance you have of actually getting a book there. And that's the thing. And the one thing a lot of indie writers don't know is you can reach the New York Times bestsellers list and the USA Today's bestsellers list just with ebooks. But the reason people don't do it is if they do KDP Select and only sign on with Kindle, you can't reach the New York Times bestsellers list because you have to be sold in multiple brackets and not just Kindle. But if you sell, it only takes 2,000 copies in a week period to actually reach that list. So it's not too unattainable anymore, but it's hard. You have to put a lot of work into it to do it. A lot. I mean, basically you have to promote yourself 24/7 to get yourself there. Or have a good street team behind you. That's a good way to do it when you can't do it all yourself, is get a good street team of like 25 to 50 people that are willing to work with you, that love you and love your books, and they're going to put the word out for you, share your links everywhere, and write reviews for you. That's what you need, especially in today's world and being an author.
What was your mind frame when you first started in the publishing business? What was your frame of mind when you first started? Were you like scared or overly excited or what?
I was cautious. I wasn't overly scared. But the thing is I'm still cautious. Not so much cautious. I'm more anxious when I release a book. Every single time I release a book, I'm anxious because I'm like, I don't know. Like for me, the story flowed well for all my beta readers because I have 4 beta readers. I write, and I write fairly quickly. So because I write fairly quickly, I'm worried that I'm missing or losing something. So then I hand it off to my beta readers, and I have 4, and I know 2 of them are they're yay sayers, and they're like, yes, it's awesome, it's amazing, I love you, and I'm like, I love you too. But then I have 2 that I know, they're the ones that are like no and check and check and check and check, and they'll go through it and they'll rip pieces of the books apart, and I'm like, thank you. Let's continue on. What do we need to do now? So then we'd go into editing and everything in between. But it's a long process. I mean, usually it takes 3 months to get a book out, a roundabout, for me. I have to write the book, which is usually 2.5, 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. And then I send it off to my beta readers, then my editors, and then my cover artist is Brandy, my best friend, my business partner, my wifey. My wifey, she builds all my covers, and I'm in love with my covers. Absolutely in love with them, and I will never use any other cover designer. But when I'm starting the book, he actually builds the cover for me before I even do it, so I get the characters' faces in my head.
I tell my friends and even my family, I said, I don't want biased. Give it to me straight. Give it to me honest. Pretend you don't even know me. I said, because I can learn a lot more from you to be straightforward than I can if you are like a yes man, because most writers, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for, yeah, you're good, you're great. I'm not. I tell my family, I says, I'm not really good. I says, I don't believe I'm good. If you think so, whatever. But I don't look for yes men. I'm looking for what can I fix more than, okay, go ahead and send it out.
Yes. Well, you have to. A lot of times, authors can only succeed if they have a great team behind them. You have an editor, you have your mom who does your typing for you. You have cover designers. We have, editors. I have two amazing editors, Heather Powell and Danielle Poyes. Danielle Poyes used to actually work with Laurel K. Hamilton. She actually worked for Penguin. So when I came across her, I was like, oh, she's amazing. She's expensive, and she's amazing, though. I mean, you know what you get when you sign with her. She's absolutely a doll. I love her. And then Heather Powell, she's a sweetheart. I love her to death. She works directly with Nevermore Press, and she is absolutely amazing. From now on, my books are basically going to her unless she's booked, and then I send over to Danielle. But that's how we do it now. But it's always 4 beta readers. Brandy does my cover, and then CJC Photography. I'm getting all of my stock photos are coming through them. He gets a new model, and he knows I like the tattooed models. That's what I want. Get me a tattooed model. So he goes out and he does his scouting when he goes to new areas, and he's like, look who I found for you. And I'm like, perfect. Get her in jeans and tell her to turn around. Like that. And he's yeah, I mean, it's jeans, and because the Sinister Sun Syndicate series is a very it's a spot-on cover. It's jeans, it's legs, it's tattoos, and it's backs. That's what all of my covers have been. Well, the next book, it's gonna not Deceptive Dangers, but the book after Deceptive Dangers is gonna be a little different than the others. And we had to go through probably 300 photographs to find the one that I wanted.
Wow. I think that's the second biggest problem for us is the covers.
Yes,
we're wanting it perfect, and if they don't live up to what we see in our head, it's like
Brandy Schaefer Dahl, she works for Nevermore Publicity. And Nevermore Press, she's my business partner. She works with basically every single program you can think of. If you need just somebody to coordinate with to find out how you can get a specific look on something, just message her or message me, and I'll put you in contact with her, and you guys can brainstorm. She loves brainstorming over book stuff, especially cover.
I love research, so that might be a lot of fun.
She's great at what she does. I'm sure she would definitely give you some good advice.
Well, thank you. I've noticed that they keep telling, if you've read in newspapers and stuff, and they tell you to look online, that the author industry isn't at its all-time high, and I'm sitting there going, that's because we have to grow and adapt every time something changes. And it's not the fact that we aren't growing as an industry, it's the fact that our industry is lacking the growth it needs.
Yes, it's not. I mean, not many kids. I mean, think about this. A lot of school stuff is done on iPads or computers or just electronics to begin with. So what's happening is the books themselves are actually going out of stock. Nobody cares about a paperback. I absolutely love the smell of paperbacks, though. So the moment that paperbacks are gone, I'm going to be curled up in a corner crying because I love paperbacks still to this day.
I've got floors and bookshelves just crammed, packed to the rim of nothing but hardback books. Because I do too. I prefer hardback than to a Kindle.
Yes, I don't own a Kindle, so it's like, you know what? I'm not going to read it. If they only have that one book available on Kindle, I will download it to my computer and read it eventually, which I never read the stuff on my computer. I don't.
To give you some good pointers, the Windows 8 has an app that is Kindle.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what I absolutely love.
I have it, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll get the ebook, and then if they get a book like in CreateSpace or something, I will buy the book, the paperback, and I will actually read the paperback compared to the ebook. But I like to buy the ebooks just to support the authors. Whether I read that ebook or not, generally I don't read the ebook and I just buy a paperback of the book.
Well, I am running out of time. Thank you, Dawn, again for coming. I hope to steal you next time. Next time I will be sitting down with Zoe Norman. That's going to be fun. They're two authors in one. Yay! Hit like if you like and enjoy my show, because I hope y'all do. Please leave me comments because I am a fiend when it comes to comments. And always desire your nightmares. Thank you for watching my show. I hope y'all enjoy. Like I said again before, thanks for coming, Dawn, and I guess that's it.
Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
So did I. I hope the fans had a lot of fun too.
I hope so.
Yeah, so do I. I have a busy week this week. Next week, after Zoe, I see Tasha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, so she might be quite interesting.
Have you heard of J.L. Wheel?
No, I haven't.
She's a best-selling author. She's amazing. I can get her in contact with you if you want to see if you can get her on.
Oh, I would love to have her here.
Okay. I'll get a list and to have them contact you and see if we can help you get a bunch of cool people in here.
Cool people. Like, all authors aren't cool.
We all are. We rock.
Oh,
All right. Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.
You are so welcome.
Thank you. Mwah.
Bye.